Welcome to the Love, Law, and Life Makeover Podcast, a go-to for hope, faith, and joy in changing your life. I'm Neil Presley Cox, lawyer, speaker, and author of Hope Lines. I have an easy-to-find website, neilpresleycox.com. You can't miss it. And a nice welcome for my presenter and co-host, Kelsy Gibbs.
I am here with attorney, author, speaker, husband. This is
Father, exhausted already.
Father, all those things. And his beautiful wife, Anna Cox, who is the owner and founder of Pear Blossom Boutique. Highly recommend you guys check that out if you haven't already. So today our episode is Meet Cute. So we were going to talk about how the two of you met and how essentially kind of like an overview of both sides of your story of leading up to your book, Neil, and how you got to the point where you were inspired to write it. So it's I guess it'd make most sense to kind of start at the beginning. I have never heard this part of the story. I've been dying to find out. That's why we have to do this podcast, because I want to find out how you two met. I don't know. So who would like to go first and tell their side of it?
You want to go first?
Yes, I do.
Okay, let's go for it.
So I was an attorney, had gotten divorced about the year 2001 or 2. And one day I come walking into my office from court, and I walked over to my secretary station, and leaning over talking to my secretary is this incredibly gorgeous young woman. And so I exchanged some greetings with her and then spoke to my secretary, and she took her leave, I'll let you get to work kind of a thing. And the minute she walked out, my first words to my secretary was, "Who was that?" That's the God's truth. And so my secretary at the time was actually a friend of hers and had invited her to come over and meet her boss, and never told me about this. And because Anna was just ending up and getting away from a bad relationship with somebody that was continuing to, I'd almost call it borderline stalk her. And so my secretary just wanted us to meet. And my secretary told me who she was, and then she told me that she was 28 years old because I was 37 and a half, I believe, at the time. And so then I wound up calling her, and we went out, and then we went out again. And then she told me she was 22 or 21 and a half. And so then I said to her that I just thought she was too young, and this is really what happened. She came over and sat on my lap and looked right at me in
your office,
in my office, and batted her eyes at me and said, "You're not sending me away, are you?" And I said, "No." And so we just kept dating, and I became madly smitten and in love with her, and she kept hanging around, and we wound up moving in together and getting married just a few months later.
Wow. Oh my God. Okay.
She walked into my life
She legit just walked into your life.
I walked right into his office. I didn't need a lawyer or anything. I just happened to be walking in,
You happened to be walking. Okay. Yeah. Can you explain now? I want to hear a little bit about this, because his secretary, it sounds like, kind of set you guys up a little bit. She had some hand in that.
Yeah.
Because she knew both of you. So she was like, "Hey, you got to meet my boss."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She was my friend, and I was actually dating someone that was, definitely, it was a bad relationship, and it was, abusive, and I was trying to get away from it, but I just didn't know how to get away. I think I was just mentally, just had a lot of low self-esteem, and I just couldn't get away. It was just that cycle of abuse that I was in. So my friend invited me over to the office, and I went in there to visit her and see her. And I remember seeing Neil walk by, and he had a mullet. Which I will never forget. It was like only this long, but the sides were short and he had like this little mole and he was just wearing the cutest clothes, just like the most unique style. It was just, he was so interesting, but I just remember him kind of blazing by and he stopped and said, hi. And I was like, hi. And like, it did feel like there was definitely like a pretty good attraction at first, just because he was like so new to me of like this type of a guy to even like be near and just like he was just so different from anybody I'd ever dated before. And I think maybe I was that for him. So
Yeah, you're from a small town
Yeah.
and I was from a bigger city and
yeah.
I was an attorney and I don't think there are any attorneys in that little timber town you're from.
No, I mean everybody that I dated was I dated, I think pretty much only loggers. A lot of them were loggers. Like, you know, and that was just kind of what I grew up around. And so yeah, I just kind of dated those kind of guys. And I was from a small town, but I had
What small town were you from? Where were you from?
from Kamei, Idaho.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then where were you at? What big city? Oh, California. Right?
San Francisco, right near San
Yeah.
Francisco.
There you
Got out of there as quick as I could.
go. So then where did you meet? Did I miss that?
My office in Clarkston.
Yeah, in his office.
In Clarkston.
Yeah,
yeah,
I already
in
moved up
Clarkston.
here. I'd been up here for a
Yeah.
while.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
It's funny because when we started dating, my family was just like, who is this guy with this sports car? Like he was just so different from anybody I'd ever dated. Like he was just like professional. He was like really just the California vibe too, you know, back then. Just like kind of just a fun, you know, I don't know, it was really fun. And so my family was very intrigued, you know, like who is this guy, you know, because it was just so different. And the fact that you were an attorney was, you know, it made their curiosity rise up. It's like, you know, so my dad was asking questions like, well, who is he and what's his history? And he was very, you know, wanted to check in, which I think is good. I'm glad my dad was like that.
Yeah, good dad.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you're so young. He's
Yeah.
probably still like feeling really protective of you. And,
Yeah.
you know, he's a fully grown man with a
Mhm.
career and from
Yeah.
California.
It was-
And had already been divorced,
Yeah.
which her dad was.
He wanted to know
questioning
about, you
that,
know,
so.
Neil's past, and I don't know, it kind of made me feel good to like, because I feel like with my dad, he doesn't say a lot, but like he's such a deep, like thinking and such a sweet, caring person that he really actually cares so deeply. And so the fact that he was really questioning kind of made me feel that was good.
Aw.
Yeah.
So let's kind of like maybe actually I have so many questions. I'm so curious about like early years of dating, especially like with that kind of an age gap. Was that kind of different for you guys? Like
No,
how did you manage that?
I'm incredibly immature.
That's true.
That's right. Well,
In fact,
all of
you
it.
know, when I got sober a few months after we got together and got into Alcoholics Anonymous, got into recovery, and one of the things they say in recovery is that your age is actually starts the day you got sober. So in other words, I've been sober 19 years now. So in terms of emotional maturity, that would put me at 19 right now. Food for thought.
No, I'm the older one.
That's right. No, he was
I'm the
actually,
cougar.
he was very mature and at her core had this fundamental goodness and sense of who she was and right and wrong and different things and so very mature, and it really worked for us. The age thing never felt like an age thing. It still doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
It just really doesn't.
I mean, we have like normal things that come up, like music generational things, you know, things like that. But we've just accepted it so much and we've taught each other so much about different things.
Yeah, like I have a playlist for music on Spotify that is pretty much my favorite, and it's rock and roll. But she would say like, "Oh my God, your old music." So she said that so many times. So I have a second playlist that's called cool music. And so I deliberately went and found really modern music. And so now she's like, "Wow, your musical tastes are getting so much better." Not realizing that it's mostly just for you.
Oh, that's nice.
That's actually really sweet.
That's nice.
That's so sweet. So I'd like to kind of fast forward a little bit and talk about how is it that y'all well, because this whole thing kind of revolves around the book. That's kind of what's inspired this whole podcast, right? Is your book, Hope Lines.
Right.
We've been doing a series chapter by chapter, kind of going through it. You know, you give a lot of hope to people in different like situations, whether it's divorce or custody issues. And you even have a chapter on anxiety in there. So there's like a lot that you cover in that, even giving like little legal snippets in there as well, which is super helpful for a lot of people. But like that was a journey for you, right? Like, when did you start, I guess, kind of starting that process of developing that book? And what was it that really got you like inspired to do it, to write it?
I've always wanted to write, but as a lawyer, I was just wanting something else in my life, some spark of creativity, something. And all these things were happening. I was watching the same problems happen to people over and over again and helping them one person at a time. And so these ideas for how to help people nowadays with what they're going through were just turning over in my mind. And I started writing. And then, because I wanted to write, I wanted to have a writing career aside from the lawyering. And so as I was doing that, it was my writing was really dark because I was diving right into these problems: drug addiction, domestic violence, people getting divorced, parenting plan fights, people with mental illness. And I was showing her some of my writing, and she kept saying the same thing to me again and again. You've got to put some positivity and hope into your writing. You're just going so dark, so negative. And she just, every time I would share with her what I was writing, she kept saying that. And that really kind of just germinated in me, that she planted a seed. And as I continued writing, that seed started to grow. And so I started to put hope into it. And so there became sections based upon uh, reflection and application of problem solving things. And I didn't go so dark, but I kind of, would dive into the problem and then emerge sooner. And so much of her spirit is in that book.
Wow.
It's true.
How were you? Yeah, what was going on with you during this time as he's developing this and going through all of it?
What year did you start writing that book?
Oh, I'm gonna say about 9 years ago.
Yeah, because in the midst of all of that, we were raising our kids and going through. So I was basically at home with the kids a lot and just navigating a lot of stuff with the kids. But I was trying to be really supportive to you as to what you want. I wanted you to follow your dreams, and I could just tell that you had like this burning inside of you to share. I think it was almost like a therapeutic outlet for you because of everything over the years with your career, which isn't, an extremely hard career. A lot of people don't realize that. They think, oh, you're a lawyer, you just live the dream and all the things. And like, there's a lot of blessings to it, but it's absolutely like soul crushing, especially from what I've seen, the effects that it has on people. It really changes people, what they see, especially, being a criminal defense attorney, doing divorces. And just, I think even in the area that we live in, I think there's a little bit more mental health issues and more struggles. So you took on a lot, but you also helped people so much. And so you were able to use that book to, just put your heart into it. But yeah, I think I kind of helped you not go too deep and too low, because you would want me to read some of the stories and I would read them. And sometimes I would start to feel a little bit like, oh, this is like too heavy. Like it's making me feel like overwhelmed. And I think that the reader is going to maybe feel that way possibly too.
Would have been a vampire book without you.
I don't know. And I'm not like, I'm not really a writer or anything like that. I think I kind of lead with like a lot of my intuition and my heart, just to kind of like think about how it might affect someone. But I think your message is just amazing.
Oh, I love that. I can't even imagine. So I am curious, how was it like raising kids at a time where, your husband is a criminal defense lawyer, which is amazing. That's awesome. But did that have any kind of like, how did that impact like your role at home, or like, are you bringing your work home? How do you have that work-life balance between the two of you?
Got anything on that one?
I'm just thinking about how, I feel like a lot of it is almost a bit of a blur because we have a son who has some special needs. And so I was always kind of navigating stuff with him, and it was very like
Anger,
it was a lot of like anger,
behavioral
just
outbursts.
behavioral things. And I was always trying as a mom to figure out what I could do to like help him. At the same time, like, I think back then we didn't have a lot of support as to like what can help mental health issues. I feel like it's a lot better now. But between your career and like your really stressful job, and then raising the kids, it was a lot. And I think in general, it's always a lot for a mom just to be at home with little ones. And
Kind of survival mode.
I was honestly in survival mode.
Yeah.
And you were kind of in survival mode too with your career.
Absolutely.
Because back then, I think you had a lot of like conflict with things within your job at different times.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just got up extra early, so I do my writing early in the morning and then do my lawyering. And so then I could come home after work and give her a break or do whatever needed to be done with the kids.
And he was always so helpful with the kids. Like, I don't even know how you got the energy to like do everything you did with the kids. You have so much energy. But like considering all of the stuff that like went on in our house, I can't believe how much energy. And with the age difference, you would kind of think too, like he would be more tired and all that. He has so much energy.
Come from a long line of workaholics.
You do. Yeah. Well, your mom was a go-getter.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my grandma owned 2 acres. My grandparents had 2 acres out in Nevada, and my grandmother would get up at like 3:40 in the morning. And just as the sun started coming out, she'd start moving rocks on the property. Literally for hours and hours, she would landscape the desert acres she had. That's
he would get up at like, honestly, like when I would wake up, he was gone in the mornings. He'd get up at like 3:30 a lot and just be gone, and like that's part of that workaholic type thing. I think it was a strategy for you also to navigate some of your past stuff that you needed to heal from, and also just kind of how hard it was at home with our son.
Workaholism's the acceptedism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other isms, drug addiction, alcoholism, sexaholism. Most of the isms are not socially acceptable, but workaholism is a socially accepted addiction.
It's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I didn't realize that. Yeah. And caffeine. No,
That's true.
There you go.
We need to try a mushroom coffee. We still need to try it.
I know.
She has, but she's trying to try her mushroom coffee.
You will get to try the mushroom
I'm
coffee.
excited. We can't get Neil to do it yet.
I'll do it.
Oh,
You'll do it? Oh,
okay.
We're all gonna take some mushroom coffee. It's just, yeah.
Well, coffee actually has been another vice for you, by the way. Over the years, coffee has gotten him through so much. I just had to add that.
You're here.
Yeah, exactly. Like this session was powered by caffeine. Powered by coffee. Well, I think I am just trying to think of like which direction we should go here, because I feel like with the two of you, there's a lot that we can unpack in different directions.
Yeah, I got a couple of things I want to touch on.
Yeah.
About pursuing dreams. So she was very good about that, very open. You want to be a writer too? Well, okay, don't quit your day job and stop lawyering. And so, continue to support our family, Neil. But as long as you do that and you want to spend money or devote some effort to being a writer, go for it. Very supportive. And so that was wonderful, of course. And so I'm trying to reciprocate and give back the same thing. She has some dreams like her boutique and some of her fashion skills, which are phenomenal. I call her rainbow eyes because she can see beauty in things. Anyway, so I'm trying to just give that back and be as supportive to her dreams as she has been to mine, so that we both, and I'm noticing too that there's a convergence, like why we're here today, of what I'm doing and what she's doing is sort of coming together, which is important to me because I don't want us to go off on different paths.
Yeah. No, that's exactly it. Yeah. Cause like how did you get to the point where you were like, okay, I'm ready to start pursuing my dreams? Well,
I mean, I think now that our kids are older, that's been a huge piece. It's just there still are challenges that we have. And if we do another podcast, you know, we can share more about that journey, but it's just kind of like this newfound time to expand on like maybe what our dreams are. And my whole focus has been the kids for so long and just navigating all of that. So we're just kind of coming together on it. And I think, just staying close, you know, not letting the hardships that we've been through with his career, with our kids and things like that to like, you know, impact our relationship. We're just big on making sure that we follow our dreams together. And he's super supportive about me doing my dreams, which means so much to me because I have a tendency to, you know, not push forward to follow my dreams, but I definitely have a lot of dreams in my heart that I want to do. And I feel like after everything we've been through, it just sounds so exciting to get to actually do what I dream about doing.
What advice would you give people that are in a similar situation of like, I guess, the situation of like waiting a while before pursuing their dreams? Is there any advice you'd give to people who are still teetering, playing with the idea of moving forward with them, but not quite ready to? What advice would you give to somebody?
I would say to let yourself dream and just like let your creative mind dream and come up with something in your mind and your heart, that something that makes you feel light and lifted, something that you know that when you hear about it, it just makes you happy and lifted. And it's just like that hope you can hold on to know that like this can be part of my experience, maybe not right now, but maybe in the future. And that, you know, maybe praying that God would bring somebody into your life that could help you move forward, because that's kind of what I needed. So yeah.
That's so good. I think you just nailed it. If it feels light and good, then it's something that you're going to want to run with. That's good, Aaron.
Yeah, and I come from a family, like I am so grateful for my family because I was raised with such like I had a lot of healing that I had to do. But I was raised with such a good family that they were just so connected to their heart, so spiritual. You know, I grew up just believing in God. I grew up in believing that there's so much more. And I don't know, I was just gifted that. And I feel so grateful. So it's always helped me stay true to myself in the midst of a lot of different things.
Well, I would add to the following your dreams is the beginning is always a brainstorming session. You know, maybe you just take a notepad and you write things down. And Anna in the past has done what you call it, like a dream board, or where you get, you know, some construction paper and a pad and
like
an old-fashioned vision board. Yeah, and you just put things on there that you're wishing for, good things. And I think that that's kind of a powerful thing, because when you write it down or make a vision board, you're actually giving it breath, you're giving it some life. And then the other thing is just don't beat yourself up about where you're at. You're where you're supposed to be right now, and it's okay. And just do some small thing towards your dreams, you know, even if it's just writing something down and that's the best you can do today, that's okay. Just one little step is good.
No, good. No, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that's 100%. Well, before I did want to ask this, or you know, you can elaborate as much as you want, but I heard a rumor, potentially in the works, that the two of you might be working on putting together a keynote speech to start speaking, doing some public speaking. Is that what I've heard? Is that a thing?
Yes, because we come from such an opposite perspective. Anna is just so lives and thinks from her heart. So it just starts out in that place of goodness, just so automatically, that it's very powerful. And it also kind of stops me in my tracks, because my brain, I have one of these 100-mile-an-hour brains that's always thinking about ideas. And so she just gets to the core of something, and it's good, and it stops me. But well, from where I come from with my brain at high speed, and where she comes from with her heart in such a good place, we kind of complement each other in what might be helpful to people out there, because they hear something from totally different perspective, and yet we're trying to get to the same place, which is just to love on people and help them.
No, that's wonderful. Yeah, because you guys are gonna, I mean, you two are definitely a power couple. You know, it sounds like you've worked through a lot. We've covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know, you guys have worked through quite a bit
Mhm.
to get to where you are now, and it's just really excited to see like where you guys are seeing things like kind of unfold.
Yeah.
It
And
is,
Oh, that's my word of the day. I love
it's
it.
a lot of fun. Things are unfolding.
They totally are. I think that's all I had for you guys. If you guys haven't seen the book or ordered the book, bought the book, Hope Lines, that's what we've been talking about. You can get it on Amazon, right? We'll have a link in the description on how you can purchase that. I highly recommend it. It's amazing. If you'd like to, I think you guys are still working on your keynote speech
Mhm.
that you're putting together. So when that comes out, we'll keep you updated on that, but you can definitely still book them as speakers to come up and speak at your events. I think I covered everything. Was there anything I left out, guys?
No?
That's good.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.